Hello, sister travelers. Welcome back to Solo Travel Adventures. I'd like to talk today about an issue that many have asked me, and I actually stumbled upon. I did some travel this past weekend, and it was just a weekend trip, so I just took a backpack of my items to carry on, right? So the issue often becomes, and the question is, the whole idea around liquids and having a limited amount of ounces or milliliters able to be brought in a carry-on, right? So there's some, concern, especially as women, we seem to have a lot more products that might be liquid-based, that might be a little harder to get in what the requirements are for how many liquids or how much can you carry on. Now you can, of course, check your bag with, as many liquids as you deem necessary. So if you tend to have, maybe you're going on an extended trip and you do need to carry more products, or you have, just needing that stuff, right? We'll get to what those items are. Then you may want to consider checking your bag. But let's first talk about what are defined as liquids that are, they're kind of categorizing when you're looking at how much can you carry on. So liquids are not just like actual liquids, such as we know water is not allowed, or it can be, it's not allowed through TSA, but liquids like that. Aerosols, gels are included in that, creams, and paste. So there is kind of a rule about how much. Every place that I looked into, the U.S., the EU, and Australia, all those places in general, okay, they want it all in a clear plastic container, all the liquids together if you're doing just a carry-on, okay? And those liquids, so we have TSA does a 3-1-1 kind of ratio to help you remember. So 3 is actually 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters in a 1 quart. So that's the 1 quart plastic container for one person, per person, right? So that's the 3-1-1 sort of acronym to help you remember how much you're able to take. So you get a quart size Ziploc bag and, you're able to fill that. But there are, of course, some limitations of that as well. Obviously, each container no container may hold more than 100 milliliters. So you can get some small little, containers to pack your stuff and put it in smaller containers, because they're not counting how many liquids are in each container. So maybe you have one 3.4 ounce container, right? But maybe it's only half full. They're still going to count it as a 3.4 ounces, even though your container might be hardly full. So you cannot take containers that are larger than that size, even if they're only partially filled. So consider that when you're putting your items together. So as a woman, some of these items include shampoo and conditioner, of course, maybe some hair gel, mousse, or hairspray. If you use any kind of hair product, we have to consider that. Body wash, body lotion, toothpaste is included because it's a paste. It might even be toothpaste gel, right? So that's included. Mouthwash, sunscreen, perfume, of course, any kind of cream or liquid cosmetics. So if you do a liquid foundation, that is actually counted in those ounces. Oils, if you have a liquid deodorant or an aerosol spray deodorant, that's going to be counted as well. And mascara. Now that one I had forgotten about. And so that is considered in those ounces of allowable liquids. or oils too. I forgot about oils, which comes into play for me personally because I do like to carry some essential oils with me. So, what do we do? So I have some tips on how to reduce these liquids and taking the products in different forms so that you're not exceeding that amount, right? Or maybe there's a specific, maybe you need to take some body lotion as like that is a must-have for you. And that means you probably have less available liquid space for other items. So let's start with, first of all, the most widely liquid item that we think about when we travel is shampoo/conditioner. So what can you do to reduce the liquids in that? You could, one thing that I do is I use a bar shampoo. So it's like a solid bar of soap, but it's specifically shampoo for the hair. They have them in conditioners as well. Now these, you can get some of these in like little travel sizes. I would recommend testing out, make sure it, works well for your hair type, because there are several different ones out there. That would be one way to reduce liquids in that category. You could also, if you're not picky about what kind of shampoo or conditioner that you use, you could use the hotel. If you're staying at a hotel, you could use what they provide for you. That's always an option, right? Then you don't have to worry about carrying that stuff. Okay, let's move on to hair gel, mousse, or hairspray. In general, I would say if you could get away with not using any of that, I do on occasion need to put a little hair gel. I have curly hair, and so I have one of those really tiny little round containers that I put, a finger two of amount in there that usually will last me a week. A lot of times I can just add some water and kind of extend my hair, curliness, and even the extending of that gel for myself. So that's an option. It may or may not be something to get around. As most people say, you can likely buy a lot of this stuff once you get to your destination, like little tiny travel items, or go to a grocery store or a drugstore and find them as well. Toothpaste. This one, we all want to carry some toothpaste, but I started using powdered toothpaste and also the solid toothpaste called Bites. Now, Bites are just these tiny little, they look like tablets, and they are great to travel with. And if you are either from Australia or you're traveling to Australia, one difference with what they kind of regulate in what you can carry on, they actually consider powders in some of those limitations. So to maybe avoid that, you could go with the Bites. Those are Bites. You can look them up online, and they sell toothpaste. That's what they are, toothpaste. And that's a great way to reduce the liquids in that category, right? So then we move to body lotion. This is sometimes a necessity for some people because maybe they tend to have dry skin. Again, it could be something you either use what's provided at the hotel. You could purchase something there, or what I've seen, and unfortunately I've only seen them as small as 2 ounces of travel body lotion. Now, 2 ounces takes up quite a bit of your 3.4 ounces of your total liquids you're allowed. So, if it's a deal breaker, then go ahead and take it and minimize in those other areas I'm talking about here so that you could take that. Mouthwash, I would just nix that. That is a pure liquid. And again, many hotels actually provide that, or you could buy a little sample, right? Cosmetics can be a little iffy. Most of my stuff is powdered, but if you do have a liquid foundation, you may want to consider looking into a powdered version of that for travel. I also recently, when I traveled, I had to not take, I have a liquid under eye. I had to not take that because I didn't want to exceed my liquid allowance. Now, if you're, again, as I mentioned, Australia does look at powders. So those are, you can look at the list. There's two. There's inorganic and organic powdered. So they have some restrictions there. You want to look that up. I think cosmetics might be fine, but again, looking at the liquids, you might want to go more to powder so that you don't have to worry about that. Sunscreen. Oh, that was a tough one for me this past weekend because I knew I was going to be going, spending a day at the pool. And so I knew I needed sunscreen. But I also knew I was going to visit family. And I know that they use pretty much the same sunscreen I use. So I knew I could leave my sunscreen behind and just use what my family had. Now, that might not be the case if you're traveling. If you're going to the beach and you don't want to pay the high prices of sunscreen purchase while you're at the beach, then go ahead and check your bags and just pack up a whole lot of sunscreen because you're going to need a lot for a week at the beach, possibly. Now, for my face, I have both a liquid and a solid sunscreen. Now, the solid sunscreen, maybe you've seen those sticks. Those are great for faces, and that could be an alternative for less liquids or less aerosols taking in your checked bag. So you can check into that. I would skip the perfumes. That's another category. Of course, those are liquids. And deodorant, you want to make sure maybe you have a solid deodorant versus maybe a liquid or an aerosol version. Mascara, that one's a tough one to get around. However, nowadays, women are getting fake eyelashes. That would be a great way to not even have to worry about taking mascara with you. So if you're up for that and you don't mind spending that money to make your eyes look good and not have to worry about carrying mascara, get some little fake eyelashes on. Do the ones that will stay on at least more permanently, because if you're applying them yourself, there is often a liquid adhesive that you would need to carry with you. So that kind of negates that whole thing of not bringing mascara. And then the final one is that I have down is oils. I do carry essential oils with me. So I found these tiny little, literally each container, I don't even know how many milliliters. They're probably less than that. They are literally about 5 or 6 drops of oil in each little vial. And I will take just a few of my essentials of those oils, things that might help with breathing or allergies, or lavender oil, of course, anything that might help with things like that, maybe bites or upset stomach. So I do take a little emergency oil kit with me, and I keep that really, really small. So those are ways that you can reduce your liquids, aerosols, gels, creams, and pastes when you are traveling with just a carry-on. Okay, a lot of us are trying to achieve that. And so one way is to, try these suggestions, even, have a pre-packed overnight bag with these little sample or items in them, little containers in them, so that when the time comes for you to travel, you are already set up for success and you are ready to go on that adventure, right? All of the countries have, of course, slightly different, but most of them are all want in that plastic clear container, right? To display your containers. No more than 100 milliliters or 100 grams of those liquids, aerosols, gels. And in Australia, they include some powders. So you need to look that up and make sure you're in compliance there. And don't take any half full containers, because they're going to count the full container whether it's full or not. Remember that. So go buy some of those little tiny, I know they sell them like at Target and Walmart. They're like, they call them the TSA pre-approved plastic container, and it actually comes with some little bottles in there for you to transfer some of your products into those smaller containers. So sisters, I hope this helps with your next travel adventure in helping you be able to carry all your products and your needs in your carry-on and not have to worry about having anything confiscated or taken that you might actually need on your travels. Hey, sister travelers, did this podcast inspire and encourage you or move you to get out there and travel? Wonderful. There are 3 ways you can thank me. First one is leave a written review for the show on Apple Podcast. 2, share the show with your sister travelers, your friends, your family. And 3, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And thank you again for listening to the show. Sisters, be fearless, take the leap, and get out there and have an adventure.